old, so I'll try to add some things here as well. So I am right now the Managing Director and Chief Operating Officer at Genetic Solutions. I'm also one of the founders at Genetic Solutions. Genetic is my baby that I started as a one-woman company around 16 years ago. I was the first developer in my company, which is why it is very close to my heart. Today we have a team of around 80 professionals. I mostly work on business growth and business development internationally, which is why I'm a speaker and I attend conferences around the world. We do a lot of work around emerging technologies as well as current technologies, both open and closed source. I am also the co-founder of ConsulNet Corporation. ConsulNet Corporation is an initiative that actually sparked my interest in skill development around 20 years ago. My father started this institution to train the youth on the road, the people that were on the street in technology. This is when I was learning technology myself 20 years ago. So it inculcated a thought process. It inculcated the idea of giving back to the community, giving back to the society. So we started training youth in technology, in short course, giving them short courses in web designing, Adobe, graphic design. And this is like in the time of Petroman. So I'm still the co-founder of that. Then I founded 2018. I founded the Code Girls Bootcamp, which is dedicated towards women upskilling, reskilling, and their empowerment and making them financially independent. We'll talk more about this in detail because this is the project that I'm supposed to be talking about. I am currently, I was member of Pakistan Software Association, then I was a CEC member. I sat on the board. This year I'm the vice chairperson there. I also run two of the committees based on my interest. I lead the diversity committee and I also lead the skills development committee at Pasha. I'll talk a bit about that as well. I'm on the advisory board of Women in Tech PK. Women in Tech PK is the community of Pakistani women technologists from all over the world. It is a community of around 8,000 Pakistani women. And what we do on this platform is we don't just rant. So for those who think that we only rant on this platform, we don't just rant. It's a safe haven for women to come to talk about their problems, to talk about solutions, to talk about jobs, to talk about training. And then we have mentors on the platform who are there available to help them, to guide them, to pull them forward. So, an idea of women backing women. So this community started off in 2016 and I joined it in 2017. And this is one of the communities that actually helped me, pulled me out of the other side of the table to this side. I never wanted to be a person that people would know. I always like to work behind the table. But this community made me come out and face the world. It taught me how to face the world. It taught me how to talk. It taught me my worth actually. So yeah, so I really owe a lot of what I am today to this community. I'm sure we all know about Pakistan Software Association, Pasha. It is the only and the biggest trade association of software houses in Pakistan. We license with the government. We are a bridge between the private sector and the government and ensure that the government works with the private sector, the IT companies to create a favorable environment for the IT ecosystem in Pakistan to nurture and to grow. So in 2018, I also became a Pakistan ambassador for CryptoChicks Canada. So what is CryptoChicks Canada? CryptoChicks Canada is again like a body similar to other training bodies in Pakistan. However, their focus is mainly on blockchain training for women. So I happened to meet them in one of these conferences. I brought them to Pakistan to train 100 women in blockchain in 2017, 18, somewhere around that time. For the first time, and then we had the first ever hackathon for blockchain and AI in Pakistan in 2018. I was also the founding member of the Karachi chapter of Pakistan Agile Development Society, and again, I'm right now by profession I am a certified professional Scrum Master. I'm trying to do some learning here, and I'm also learning Salesforce these days. So yeah, that's new. Okay. So before we talk about why do we need social initiatives and why do we need more and more people to jump into that in Pakistan, let's talk about a few numbers. I'm sure a lot of you who are Pakistanis might know about these numbers, but for those who don't, and for those who are internationally or global friends who have joined us, for them, the total population in Pakistan is 218.7 million. 49% of that it's actually 48.76%, but 49% of that is women, 51% is male. The annual change in population, you can see the median age is important. The median age is so important because we have a huge population, around 63% youth in Pakistan, 63 or 67, I'll read in the next slide. So 22.8% is the median age. 37% of the population is in urban. Then the overall literacy rate is important. It's 59%, out of which female literacy rate is 46%, whereas male literacy rate is 71%. Now, why is that? We'll talk about that as well, just very quickly, because I'm trying to build on the idea of why we need social initiatives in Pakistan more and more. So 63% youth is people are between the age of 15 to 23, which is amazing, which means that Pakistan, if given the right skills training, can actually cater to a lot of the freelance work that's coming our way from around the world, because a huge population is young in Pakistan. Now, I am going to specifically talk about social initiatives and skill development around the ICT sector, because that's what I belong to and that's what I can vouch for. 25,000 computer science graduates approximately we see each year coming out of universities in Pakistan. And as I've seen in this number can be debatable, but what I've seen is 45 to 50% of them are female graduates, at least in the academia side. Not talking about what you see in the industry, but in the academia side. Government of Pakistan's target for 2023 export remittance is $5 billion from such a nascent small industry. Now, why is that? Because in 2020, when the world closed down due to COVID, when there was an economic crisis globally as well as in Pakistan for most industries, IT actually saw an uplift, saw a growth of 47%. And this year, this fiscal year, we closed at a 2 billion market target. So what the government of Pakistan and what IK is looking at is at least reaching 5 billion by 2023. Let me go back to the previous slide again. When we say up to 50% female graduates in IT, please remember that in the industry today, if I talk about the latest Pasha survey today, women participation or women presence is 16 point something percent, 16 point something percent, which is very low. This is actually good from what we had last year or the years before, which was actually under 10%. So, and then with the government of Pakistan saying that the target for 2023 export remittance is $5 billion, and ask us, what are your asks? That's what we get from them. What are your asks? Now, our biggest ask is obviously skilling, upskilling and reskilling. So what is stopping us, when we have such a huge and young population, 25,000 graduates coming out, what is stopping us? So I've basically put down a few points that I have seen being in the industry, working with the industry, both sides of the table in the last 2 to 3 years. Number one is brain drain. So out of the 25,000 graduates that you see each year, there's a number which is around 3,000 to 4,000, which is the top cream, you might call them, the best. Usually these students are absorbed internationally, globally by big companies, thank you, like Google, the Microsoft, Facebook, and the likes of those. And these are usually students from graduates from tier 1 universities. Then you're left with that 21,000 graduate. And then what happens to that 21,000 graduates is that most of those graduates are not market ready. Now, why is that? Because there's a huge academia industry gap. Somehow, even though in the last quarter, in the last maybe couple of years, academia and industry are both trying hard to mitigate this gap, to join hands to mitigate this gap. However, there is still a huge gap in the market, which is why the graduates that we see are not market ready. Industry just cannot absorb them unless and until they train them. Predominantly, 63.6% of people live in rural areas with limited access and awareness. So there's a lack of awareness of the programs that the public sector introduces, of the programs that the private sector introduces, because they don't have access, so they don't have awareness. So we miss out on that as well. 24.3% of Pakistani population live below national poverty level. So because of that, they cannot afford to do vocational training or training outside of public universities or government universities. So they have to rely on what they get taught in universities to be able to get a job. Now a student who is 18 gets into university, and by the time he or she graduates, they're 22 and 23, and they expect that if I'm a CS graduate, I'm going to get a job in the industry, I'm industry ready. But that's not the case, because the curriculum in the academia is so old school, it is so backdated, that you just cannot expect the industry to say, hey, you know what, you're a graduate, or you're a 80% graduate, come join us. We can't do that, right? It's not possible. Okay, please. So I have a slide for Q&A, but if you have any questions that you may want to ask, you can always put them in chat. Or is there a hand raising option, Rabia? Or you could just tell me if somebody is asking a question. Anyways, because I can go on and on.
Sure, I'll just pop in then.
Thank you. So when I talk about what is stopping us, this slide has stuff like brain drain, the general stuff. This other slide is very specific to women. What is stopping us? Now, countries like India and Bangladesh, the reason that they are so, ahead in the game with bringing in so much, I mean, you cannot even compare with numbers from India and Bangladesh. Let's not even talk about our neighbor. Let's talk about the other neighbor, Bangladesh. More than $25 billion in revenue each year. And we are happy with the 2 billion this year. Wow. We are trying to get to a 5 billion in 2023, right? Why is that? Because they are making use of all the youth. They're not sort of like, creating a limitation for women. They're not saying women cannot do specific tasks. They're basically involving all their youth folk, including women, into the mainstream. They're training them, they're upskilling them, they're reskilling them. Women make 48.76% of the Pakistani population, almost 50%, guys. But with strictly defined gender roles, society generally invests less in women. I mean, just today, one of my cook was telling me that when she was young, her mom had 3 daughters and 3 sons, and she invested all of it into her sons and not into her daughters. And which is why she's a cook today, right? But if she had invested enough into them, there would have been something else. So there are gender defined roles, and I don't think I do blame the industry. I do blame the corporate to a level, but I think it starts from your homes. I have seen so many examples, and I can go on and on, because it starts from your own home, where you start to differentiate between your son and your daughter, and where you start to differentiate that for my daughter, mujhe jahez dena hai, so I have to hold this money. I can't spend for her to go to the US and do her master's, or to a tier 1 university and do her master's, because this money has to go for her wedding. But I think that mindset from the home needs to change. I always say, sometimes this is made about favorite line, hai, you stop giving your girls dolls, and your sons those kits, that you engineering kits that you give them. Just let them pick what they like, rather than choosing for them. Less than 10% of engineers and technologists are women. I don't know why, you tell me. Okay, so what is the so there are so many initiatives that, like I said in my abstract, that I don't blame the government, not anymore. because I do see them making a humble effort to mitigate the gap, to upskill women, youth of the community, of the society. And there are some really good programs. I'm not going to mention all the programs, but I'm going to mention some of the programs that the government is doing, and then some of the programs the private sector is doing. DigiSkills is a program that was introduced by Ignite Pakistan, which is the National Vocational and Training, National Training Technology Fund. So they, what is DigiSkills? Basically, DigiSkills is a program, is Pakistan's first online training program to empower the youth with skills that are in demand in the freelance market. It consists of multiple online skill-based training courses. The very unique feature of this program is that the course content has been designed specifically for a Pakistani audience in a mix of Urdu English language. And this is a project by Ignite, and this program started in 2018, and by today, this is what they boast. They have signed up 1.6 million plus users, 2 million plus enrollments, and their latest batch is 232,983 people. Wow, right? Amazing. If so many graduates, why is there still a gap in the industry? Why? So let's stay with that why and move forward and see what else. There are so many other initiatives by Pakistan Software Export Board, which is the the body for software houses in Pakistan, for the IT industry in Pakistan, and NevTech. NevTech is, again, I keep forgetting what NevTech is. It's very difficult. Yeah, National Vocational and Technical Training Commission. So, but I do work with them, so I know some of the initiatives. Kamyab Jawan is also one of the initiatives. I'm sure you must have heard of it. There are so many other initiatives. PSEB just came up with an initiative where it intends to train 30 to 35,000 individuals in global certifications in different tracks, right? There were around 71 tracks that I saw that they were introducing, that they were going to train university graduates and junior programmers in those tracks with certifications from 100% scholarship to a 60% scholarship, and Microsoft certified, AWS certified, Google certified, a lot of the certifications. Okay, then why are we still failing? So that this is very important to understand why we are still failing, and whatever. So by the way, again, a disclaimer: whatever I'm saying here is from what I have observed. I can be wrong. I expect you to ask me questions, cross-question me, but this is what I have seen. The first and the foremost important thing why we're failing is we are not involving industry. Let's go back to DigiSkills, for example. Now, when DigiSkills introduced these courses, they gave this project to virtual university. Industry was not involved. Who are you producing this skilled labor for? Us. We're the industry. Ask us what we want, right? You should ask us what we want. Similarly, PSEB, we are very lucky to now have a PSEB representation that is open and is open to hearing what the industry has to say, and they want to join hands. So when PSEB introduced this training program, we went to them and we said, hey, these 71 tracks, where did you get them from? You didn't come to us, you didn't ask us, where'd you get them? And they said that we ran a survey with our members and this is what we got. We took it from them and we said, let us refine it for you. We went back to the industry, we looked at our own survey, we discussed with stakeholders, we built another list for them and we sent it to them, and that was around 40 tracks, and we said, this is what we want. 2/3 of what they had actually selected, we canceled out. And we said, that's not what we want, this is what we want. So very, very important that you involve the industry and ask them what they want. And this is not just for the ICT industry. I'm sure other industries have the same pain points. When you do vocational training, if you don't involve the industry and ask them what they want, you're not going to get the same results. Run surveys, talk to the industry. Blown up expectations about the freelance marketplace. One of the things that happened in one of these programs that I mentioned earlier on is that they said कि जी अब आप ये course कर लेंगे ना, आपने you're going to become an amazing freelancer, earning thousands of dollars at home. That's not how it works. You should not set their expectations. The freelance marketplace is very, very clogged. You have to have the right set of expertise. Just learning the tool won't cut it for you. You have to learn the right set of expertise to be able to make it, and have the right set of experience to be able to make it. Only 1 out of 10 will be able to make it. So you need to also tell them that, you know what, doing these tools, you will probably get a good job. Do the job for a couple of years, understand the SDLC, the software development life cycle, then start your own work so that you understand how to work with the team, you understand how a project is built, and then start freelancing. Hua ye कि when we started training so many individuals, millions, like I said, in freelancing, these millions went to these freelancing platforms and started registering. What happened? They blocked Pakistan. They blocked Pakistan off. So you need to be, so that is what I'm saying when I say blown up expectations about the freelance marketplace. Now, with regard to women, male dominated industry, the IT industry is very male dominated. So women feel left out, not because men don't let them enter. There's a lot of the time that men don't let them enter, but there are men allies. I am here because of men allies, right? You are here because of men allies as well. Yes, absolutely. A lot of us are here because of, so there are men allies who want you to be there. But there's one thing that's stopping us, which is the biggest culprit, which is the imposter syndrome. So not teaching women skills, not just teaching women skills, but also teaching them to manage their imposter syndrome is very, very important. So that's one of the reasons. That's why we are failing, because we keep giving them the skills. We're not giving them the soft skills. Not women, not youth. You're not giving them the soft skills. Women also have a huge problem with commute. So, women cannot travel and do jobs, right? There's also, again, a big problem with awareness. Again, like I spoke about earlier on, where sorry, people from remote areas have an issue to an accessibility issue. Now, are there any questions so far? Then I would like to talk about the Code Girls program.
So there is one question from Almas that why they don't do intense marketing, and also why no collaborations with the other groups working for the same cause in the same industry. And Almas, if you can mention that who they are you're talking about. I guess you are talking about Digi Skills. If you can just please write it in the chat box, or can unmute yourself and ask the question. Almas, I guess she was talking about Digi Skills when you were informing, about the stats and everything.
Oh yeah. So it depends, right? So when I entered Pasha, I understood that there was a lot of politics also involved between different groups. So Digi Skills was one of the programs which was very close to my heart. I really wanted it to succeed, and I did. Code Girls did a collaboration actually with Digi Skills to call them in and create awareness among our girls. So they did do awareness campaigns. I know of that, but maybe not the level that would have been needed. But I think awareness was not the issue with Digi Skills. The issue with Digi Skills was not involving the industry and making sure that the course curriculum was what the industry needed, is what I think. Plus, blown up expectations about the freelance marketplace. I think these are issues with Digi Skills. And I think the third most important issue that I feel with any online platform is that for beginners, especially in Pakistan, if you're doing, if they're just starting to train, it should be on site. Maybe 6 months, 8 months down the line, when they are good enough, then they can go for online courses. Because most of the time, I mean, talk about you and talk about me, right? So I said I am a professional Scrum Master. I'm a PSM1. I signed up for PSM2 a year ago. I still haven't gone in and done that. Why? Because it's online. I can do it whenever I want, and it's human nature to just push it back, because so there's a difference between on-site and online, right? So I think that was one of the reasons why I felt that it might have failed. Anyways, so there are so many different programs that we can talk about. Because of these issues that we see here, why are we still failing? There are so many different private initiatives that came into being in the last 4 to 5 years or more. I mean, I remember from the top of my head, the one that I know of, apart from, when we did ours 20 years ago. 10 years ago, I heard about Celani. And Celani has been doing an amazing job so far, right? They have been training kids in technology. Where they fail is soft skills. Again, soft skills is not something, where else do they fail? They don't train women, is where they fail. And there's so many other initiatives like Tech Karo and many other initiatives that I can talk about today. But I want to talk about Code Girls, because Code Girls is something that I started. So I know it inside out. I know the problem sets that we were facing. I know the solutions that we came out with. I know the lessons learned. So maybe, that would give an idea to people listening out there as to how social initiatives are playing their part in Pakistan to bring forward the sector in society, or the group of society that people have actually left behind or forgotten about. And when I talk about diverse work groups, it's not just women, it's minorities, it's specially able, it's a lot of different ethnicities. It's all of them that we've forgotten about. People living in smaller towns and cities. COVID is one of the blessings that I think, where work from home became a norm and people started hiring people from Multan and Hyderabad and Sakhar and Gujranwala, and because there was no geofencing anymore, distance wasn't an issue anymore, right? So I feel COVID in that way was a blessing. Okay, so what is Code Girls? Code Girls is a fully funded coding and business skills bootcamp for women with a focus on inclusion in tech and economy. We had a specific target. I'm not saying we had a specific target of ages 15 to 30, but as time passed, we learned that a lot of these girls were getting jobs. So the age target, we changed that from 15 to 18, and we removed the upper cap. So, I have women who are 40, 45, who are really good, who want to switch, who've been working in different industries and want to switch. We allow them to come. So that age bracket has changed. And most of these are from middle to low income families and have no prior technology training. The goal is to give them access to professional training and environment so that they can start their career in technology, which is an excellent equalizer, is lucrative, and has more opportunities and comparatively friendlier work policies for women. And we'll talk about that a little further. Why is Code Girls so unique? So this is my favorite slide. When I was starting Code Girls, I didn't want to start Code Girls actually. There were a couple of other initiatives that had started at that time in 2017, 2018, and there were initiatives for women empowerment, women training. I was excited. I was like, oh wow, now I have I'm a software house. I have a 10% diversity ratio. I want to improve this. I'm going to help these guys, in whatever way they need. They need trainers, they need outlines, they need us to vet them. We'll do whatever they want. But just like Almaz said, they didn't want collaborations. I don't know why. I was like, and I didn't want collab. I was like, we'll help you pro bono, no money needed, nothing. Don't even mention us. Just, because you're doing something that is so worthwhile, I want to help you. But there wasn't an opening. I did not understand at that point why, because I was very, very new to the CSR world and the corporate ecosystem at that point, Pakistani corporate ecosystem. When I say corporate ecosystem, I've been working with the global audience for around 16 years, but I was very naive about the Pakistani corporate ecosystem and how the CSR funds and everything worked, and how decisions were made in boardrooms at that point, and the politics that goes behind that. So I did not understand why we were shut down. One fine day, and I've mentioned quite a few times that I'm a very big opportunist. One fine day, I got a call from somebody who read my interview and heard that I had come from a boot camp, and this is who I was. Said he wanted me to prepare 100 girls in technology And he would pay for that. And I said, okay. And that's how Code Girls started. Then I made another call. So we, Faiza Yusuf, we are 3 partners, and we started Code Girls like that. But Code Girls is different. Why is Code Girls different? We don't make the mistakes that others made. Why? The curriculum is designed and vetted by software industry experts and is thus constantly updated. We make sure that we keep the curriculum up to date. Just 2 months ago, we moved a curriculum from a 4-month course to a 6-month course, adding 2 months of basic Python track to phase 1. Just because the industry told us that these girls need to have object-oriented concepts, they need to have concepts of databases. We introduced Python in the first phase. Usually this happens in phase 2, but we pushed it to phase 1. So we're very open to what the industry suggests to us or what the employers suggest to us. The trainers are all either professional developers or entrepreneurs who are serving in specific domains. So every trainer who goes in that class, I tell the girls and I scare them, I tell them, see, they don't know how to teach. They're not trainers because they don't know how to teach, but they are professionals. They know how to do it. They know how to make it work. And that's what you need. You need hands-on. You need to know how to make it work, and they'll show you. And that's what my trainers do, because they're professional developers. They'll tell you, oh, leave this aside, I'll show you. This is how it's done. This is how you do it, right? So there are no books. There's no literature that you have to go through. It's just online browsing and then looking at how the code is being done in class and then doing it yourself. Okay, and where do the entrepreneurs come in? Entrepreneurs come in where we basically have injected core skills or soft skills into the workshop. So I am very, very focused on targeting that imposter syndrome for women. So we have 25% of the course is focused on soft skills, and that's where entrepreneurs come in, because women need to see other women role models. So women role models come in who are entrepreneurs, who are people in the accounts industry. So these girls learn about the business and core skill workshop along with coding. What do they learn? They learn entrepreneurship, they learn financial literacy, they learn about workplace harassment, they learn business communication, they learn solopreneurship, how to do a business as a single woman. They learn work readiness. All of this is taught by role models as big as Jahanara, you name it. We've tried to bring everybody, and not just women, men allies as well. So which is why this program is so unique and so different, because we come back to the table each time we get a specific unique case where we say this failed. Okay, why did this fail? Let's get back to the table and fix it. What happened after that? We launched the program in 2018 as a 4-month boot camp focused on web development. We expanded it to include a 6-month phase 2 with multiple tracks. Now the tracks, phase 1 is focused on web development. So it involves HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery, now Python. Phase 2 includes PHP, Node.js. We just started MERN, SQA, WordPress, UI UX design. So all of these tracks. The program has an active post-graduation placement strategy. Now, what happened? What happened here is that we initially, when we started Code Girls in 2018, there wasn't any thought of placing these girls. The idea was to train them and then leave them to be able to absorb by the market. But what happened is, because we had industry so involved, the first graduation happened at 10 Pearls because they said we want first pick. The second graduation happened at Contour Software because they said we want first pick, and we were like, wow, we are able to complete the circle, right? We are able to actually help these girls get jobs. So far we've trained 700 plus women, out of which around 250 to 300 women have actually trained in phase 2. Usually women tend to get jobs after phase 2. And out of those 250, 300 women, 140 plus placements were made so far. That's through us. What they've done on their own, we don't have any, any way to basically find that out. We've had a 67% retention rate. This retention rate was high, but due to COVID, it fell. But we have a 67% retention rate right now. Basic program structure मैंने आप लोगों को बता दिया है. Classes are 3 days a week for 2 hours each. There are tech and core skill workshops. Core skill workshops are important confidence boosters. Professionals Each cohort has multiple batches, so girls can choose to see what time works for them, because a lot of these girls have zero coding background. They're either working somewhere and they're trying to switch, but a lot of these girls are also university going to tier 2 and tier 3 CS universities, would you believe it? And then coming to code girls to basically learn. So these girls want evening timing, so we have different cohorts and different batches for them. What is the impact that we are creating? Starting salary of any girl is from 25 to 50,000 that we've noticed. And after a 1 year, experience in the job market, they come at par with the industry. And like now, our girls who started at 25, 30 are now 65, 70. They're earning within 2 years. They're earning 65, 70,000 rupees. We receive an average of about five vacancies per month. We have a job board where we put these vacancies out. We've also created a model. Let me talk about that in a bit. So webinars on different topics, I spoke about that. Okay, we also basically have webinars on different topics with different companies come in and conduct with us. So like the DigiSkills came and they conducted their own, YPay and other organizations come in and conduct seminars and webinars for these girls. We do a lot of collaboration, Almas. We do a lot of collaboration. So we collaborate with Quick Start, which is a Silicon Valley based online training platform where our girls are learning data science in a masterclass bootcamp right now, and they will be graduating in September. We also collaborated with Women's World Wide Web and GSMA for training girls in mobile app development, e-commerce last year. We're going to be conducting more workshops this year. And so we're very open to collaborations, and we do that. When I talk about collaborations, I'm also going to talk about, I think there's a slide that I will talk about in the end. Okay, so and we are really big on collecting data. So we do a lot of data collection. One of the very big eye-openers for me from this data collection was that I was focusing on girls who wanted to get a job. I started getting mothers, mothers who are 30 years old with 2 kids. And I'm like, what's going on? And then we started to understand that it is mothers who are actually more focused on the jobs, more focused on the course, because they want to earn. Why do they want to earn? Because there's only one bread earner in the family. And now that they have 2 kids, they understand that for a middle class family, there has to be at least 2 bread earners. And 37% of our girls were married, 32% had kids, and our age bracket was 15 to 42 years, like I said initially. 14% of girls were without access to computers or internet at home. To fix this issue, what we did is we incentivized the program. Towards the end of the program, top 10 girls get brand new laptops so that they can actually cover for that, computer access. They can have computer access at home. So we do that. I don't know if I mentioned very early on, but this program is free for the girls, and we have a lot of sponsors who pay for the program. Okay, so evaluation and discussion. So we also, because we gather a lot of feedback, we recently gathered some feedback from the girls. So Code Girls case study has been picked up, and a research paper is being published right now. The research paper is approved for publication. It will be published later this year. I will share a link with you guys, inshallah. But we collected some feedback from the girls. So this was some eye-opening feedback that I wanted to share here. So one of the girls said, the 3 questions that we asked them. Before joining the Code Girls program, in your self-assessment, how likely you were to get a well-paying job in the next 2 years? On a scale of 1 to 6, they thought the average was 2.3. The next question was, after completing the Code Girls program in your self-assessment, how likely you are to get a well-paying job in the next 2 years, which was a 4.8. So that was very encouraging for us. Has your participation in the bootcamp program led you to improve your financial situation? 4.4. So I think these numbers were very, very encouraging for us, having graduated 700 girls, and just making sure that we are on the right track. So the other evaluations, There's some that we've put here, but two that I want to focus on. One of the girls said, before joining Code Girls, I even didn't know how to use a laptop. I didn't even have a laptop before. But after graduating from the program, I got an internship with a good stipend that led towards permanent, well-paid job, which I had never expected. The other one said, I can earn more while sitting at home as a freelancer rather than doing a full-time job. So basically catering to both of those classes, you know. Okay, so what do we do for continuous improvement? So some of the things I mentioned, some of the other things is we send a course outlines and training material to industry to get feedback, always, not just local, but also global. We have a lot of friends of Code Girls that I'll show you moving forward. They either help us with sponsorships or employments, or they help us with reviewing, they help us with training, they help us keep our toes erect and not feel, you know, so they don't let us feel too comfortable with the program. So they always, you know, come back with good feedback that we try to implement each time. We do multiple class audits. Now we want to make sure the program itself is successful, which is why we have a team of auditors in-house who do multiple class audits and spot checks. So we not only go and audit the class when we get you know, complaints, but we also audit them on an ad hoc basis because there are also video recordings of the class and audio recordings that we can listen to. So there are also spot checks. We take regular feedback from students, trainers, and hiring managers. We reach out to other SMEs for advice and talk to similar programs and experts from all over the world. This we do on a very, very regular basis. Whenever there's a new program that reaches out to us or we want to reach out to them, we're not shy. We always go on a call, we talk to them, and if there's anything that clicks, we jump for it. You know, the worst that can happen is it might not work. Okay, that's all right, but there's a 50% chance it might just work. So which is why girls are currently doing data science bootcamp. They're also doing mobile app development, a lot of the other stuff that Code Girls is not offering, but our partners are, and they're doing that online. We have done 2 major restructuring so far. Like I said, we don't become comfortable at all. We keep restructuring the program and make sure that conversions happen and they happen fast and they happen well. These are just some of our collaborators, which includes Pasha, Upwork, Nest.io, Atlassian, W4, Ananke, Remote Base, Pro Women, CAA, AGA program, a lot of them. So, you know, and there's more. So thank you to them. It is because of them and, you know, my team, especially at Code Girls, who believe in the mission and the vision of the program, which is why we are who we are today. Okay, so this is just one example of one such initiative that is happening and that I know. There are many such initiatives that the private sector is doing on its own. But if the government, who is spending ample money on these other initiatives that they're doing, if they join hands with us and let us lead these initiatives, I think we can create a much bigger impact. So what is the way forward that I see? Surveys and research is very important. You need to conduct surveys and research before going into any project that you want to initiate, not just don't start one fine day. Even when we said we want to do Code Girls, we said, okay, the first thing that I did is I rolled out a survey in the industry. I said, what are the top 5 tracks that you want that we should start? And then we identified those and then we started working with those. So it's very, very important to find out what the industry needs before just, you know, thinking on the top of your head. So one of these courses that I saw the other day, a university was offering a graduate degree in AI and IoT. And I'm like, how many AI and IoT jobs do we have? We need MERN, we need open source, we need PHP. This is what we need. We need game development. How many AI and IoT? But because AI and IoT emerging technologies are buzzwords, they just went ahead without asking the industry, right? This is a very good example. Talk to the industry, which is public-private partnerships. Talk to the industry, ask them what they want. Do partnerships with them, with the stakeholders, people who matter, people who know. and then take it forward. Academia, very, very big issue. Okay, so now Pasha has been trying very hard, the skills committee, to break into this bubble. What we're trying to do is, the best case scenario would be to pick up all the core courses, change the curriculum, and have professionals teach them. But there's a lot of issues with that. There's a lot of red taping. There's a lot of each time you change a core course, it has to go to HEC for approval, and that takes like forever. So people don't get into that. Universities don't bother getting into that. But now the universities see that the graduates are not getting jobs, and that and the industry is making such a big fuss about it. They're open to negotiations. They're open to joining hands with the industry. So one of the things that we're trying at Pasha as a pilot project is that we have picked up one of the universities in Karachi, and they have agreed to help us, to allow us to help them update one of their core courses, which is web engineering, and then have an industry professional, so come and teach that core course. So with that, rather than doing a workshop on a weekend where we can actually just focus on 50 students or change 50 students, we are trying to focus on a core course and fix those 500 students that's sitting in the class. That's what we're trying to do here, but academia needs to be more vigilant and more welcoming about that. So yeah, academia bondage is very important. And then last but not the least, seize the moment. Nobody, so don't wait. I don't know what we are waiting for. Don't wait. I didn't wait. I started. I went, as soon as I got an opportunity, as soon as I saw a moment, an opening, I seized it. I said, okay, let's do this. So if not you, then who? If not now, then when? So you need to seize the moment, not wait for the government to do everything. We are not a first world country. We are growing. We need to join hands and grow together. We need to help the government in whatever way we can and show them that this is how it's possible, and then expect them to take it forward from there. So yeah, with that, thank you so much. Open for Q&A, not QA, Q&A.
So there was one question from Simran ul N, and she was like, it is always seen that students from FAST, NAST, UET, LUMS, GIK, etc. get the best opportunity, even the internships. Why not others?
Okay, so that's a very, very good question actually. And let me give you an answer to that. First of all, one of the things why they get it, I'll tell you. Because for tier 1 universities like LUMS and FAST and all, they not only focus on technical skills, they also focus on the soft skills side of them. So they're very spick and span, they're very polished. That's one reason. The other reason, and let her, I didn't catch the name. What was the name of the lady?
Simran.
Simran. The other thing, Simran, is that, okay, so the industry does not, I won't use the word like, it's a very harsh word, but the industry actually loves to onboard students from tier 2 and tier 3 more than tier 1, because most of the time those kids are like snobs, and it's hard for them to adjust in software houses. I mean, even if they do, in a year or so, they'll probably get a job somewhere outside the country and they'll leave. So we'd rather invest on you than on them. So yeah, I hope that that puts a smile on her face.
So there is one more question from her, that being a computer science student, I'm currently looking forward to the opportunities to be a part of Code Girls, Pasha, and Women in Tech. I want to learn with limited financial resources to enhance myself for a successful generation tomorrow. So the question is, limited financial facilities ke saath, what a person can do, especially the woman.
Okay, so if the specific question is about Code Girls, Women in Tech, you don't need financial any sort of financial numbers to be able to have access to these places. Women in Tech is a totally free community. You can join it. It's a Facebook community. Code Girls is, like I said, a program which is free for girls. There's also only a registration fee of 1,500 rupees. Once you complete the program, you get 1,000 rupees back. The course itself costs $180 or 30,000 Pakistani rupees, but that is paid by sponsors. And sponsorship comes to Code Girls through bootstrapping and through some funds through their partners. So you can always join Code Girls. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to the program manager and be part of the Code Girls community. There's no with Pasha. Pasha is not a platform for individuals. Pasha is a platform for companies. Pasha is a trade association for IT companies from Pakistan. So unless you have an IT company, you can't be part of Pasha. Not at this point, at least.
So if somebody has any question, they can unmute yourself and ask the question. Here, till then, I would really ask you that as a project management community here associated with PMI, we are also focusing on the social impact created in the organization. You have talked about a lot of social impact that, your different initiatives are creating. So if people attending here, like, in the call, if they really want to contribute, how they can create an impact or do certain kind of work in their own capacity to create such kind of an impact for women empowerment, one. Secondly, I don't know whether it would be the, the right way of asking the question, but I guess women empowerment has a specific definition or a mindset or a perception to it, which is very positive. You started with the thing that, they are man allies if they are working against us too. So as you are doing a lot of work of women empowerment, so, especially for the young girls and many people, who would be listening to this session on Facebook. So how Pakistan is working towards this concept, women empowerment, especially the government, and what exactly women empowerment is all about? Because there are so many negative perceptions about this has also developed in our society.
Okay, so let's just the first part of your question I'll address, and then if I forget the second part, then you can remind me, because I'm a very forgetful person. So, and I don't have anything to write it down on, otherwise I would. Okay, so the first part is, you said how can organizations basically work towards women empowerment in their own in their own surrounding, right, in their own ecosystems. So yeah, okay, wonderful. So just very recently, and it's much easier for organizations now than it was ever before, is that a Pasha Diversity Committee came up with a diversity and best practices framework, and it has a benchmark tool to it. So you should go and read that, and you should see what organizations are doing for best practices in their organizations for making their place, their workspace a safe workspace for women, and then use that benchmark tool to see where you stand in that diversity race, and then try to improve that, because that benchmark also tells you ways to improve it. So you can do that. That's the first. The other is you can start. Anybody can start a small initiative within their, if you talk about, when you say women empowerment, again, it's a buzzword, right? What do you mean? So for me, women empowerment is, for me, I skill them. That's it. I give them skills. I give them wings. But the skills that I impart to them have to be right. That's very important. And then I have to be there to answer their questions or their queries. And sometimes they are so small queries, I would laugh at them. But for them, they are life changers. And it actually changes them. They just don't look at it from that side of from that angle, right? And because it all comes from experience. So I think in your organization, having somebody who can mentor these women, who can be available to talk to them, somebody in a CXO position maybe, that really helps. And then obviously creating upskilling programs for them would also help. And then if there are programs out there that you want to partner with, you should absolutely do that. That's what I think. But the second part of the program of your question that I understood is, what is the government doing right now for diversity and women empowerment?
Yeah.
I don't think anything right now. I don't think so.
Okay, so
there was
the
a
next
program
question is
called the
from
Beti
Jang.
program. There was a program called the
Yeah,
Beti
I heard
program,
that.
which came 2 years ago. I was asked to review it. It was nothing. So I don't even want to talk about it. One of the things that we now I've also heard the Minister of IT, very nice guy, amazing person. मुझे बहन कहते हैं. But and he's very pro diversity. However, Aminul Haq Saab. However, one of the things that I have been trying to push hard is कि अगर आप वाकई, if you are actually true to your roots and if you really want to improve diversity and inclusion, bring that 48.7% workforce into the mainstream, then you need to give organizations, corporates, an incentive to do that. So corporates should be given an incentive that if their diversity ratio is, say, 20%, the government gives them this incentive, for example, a tax cut, for example, or if their diversity ratio is over 30, government should give them an incentive, because that will actually, encourage companies to improve their diversity ratio. So I think there's a lot that the government can do, but I think right now the government is so overwhelmed with so many other things that their focus is not entirely on this. Women empowerment today is just a buzzword. We see conferences, events, and things happening. We see, a lot of I would say events and that happening. But if you look, or in workshops happening, but if you look at deep down, there's not a lot that's happening right now. And it's not just Pakistan. I have also noticed this globally, because companies have CSR funds, global companies, they have CSR funds, they want to spend it. And part of that fund has to go to women empowerment. They don't care how it goes there. It just has to go there, because their fiscal year is ending. They have to show we spend so much. Right? It's just like the government. That's what happens with the government, right? In March, they start to say कि अच्छा यार ये पैसे रह गए, इसको कहाँ इस्तेमाल करने का, जल्दी से करें इसको. तो वो अभी तक वही हो रहा है. But I am hopeful that, just for example, Pasha did not have a diversity and inclusion committee till last year. We started that, right? And now we have 2 women on the CEC. There was no women on the CEC for the last, over a decade. Then I came, then Amara came. So there are 2 women on the CEC now. हमारी जो एक्टिंग सेक्रेटरी जनरल है पाशा पे, वो भी खातून है इस वक्त. तो जो है मतलब पाशा इज प्रीटी डाइवर्स. सेक्रेटरीट की टीम जो 50% जो है वो डाइवर्स है. सो like things are changing. I'm hoping that they will also change for the government, inshallah.
So the next question is from Jiang Heng Lee, and it is, how do we address your gaps in relation to women empowerment?
How do we address the gap?
Career gaps in relation to women empowerment.
Okay, right. Amazing question. I think wonderful. I think career gaps is something that is very, very genuine. It's right there. It's very realistic. Women need to take career gaps after they get married, and then there are a couple of what do you call those? When you come back to work, such programs. So Women in Tech actually initiated one of those programs where women can actually join back the workforce through some training. Code Girls is also doing that, but there's a lot of area where this can be done. I wish the government would do something like, क्या कहते हैं उसको, work something. Just I am very bad with words like that. Where women join the workforce after career gaps. Now this is a big problem, especially in IT, because IT may, when you do a career gap for 2 to 3 years, you are left way behind your successes. Okay, then you have to sort of like keep working at it to get back into the mainstream, because हम एक चीज कहते हैं IT can never go stagnant. You just cannot be still. You have to keep learning to keep at par with the industry and to keep at par with the ecosystem itself. सो खवातीन स्पेशली जब जो IT में होती है, जब वो करियर गैप लेती है, तो उनके लिए जो है ना वापस आना बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है. It's very difficult for them. So I think there's a lot of work that can be done. Some projects were done by Women in Tech PK, if I remember correctly. But there is an organization called Pakistan Women in Computing, PWIC. I'm sure you must have heard of it. PWIC is also a partner with Code Girls. They do a lot of workshops and webinars for women who want to return to work. So I think whoever wants to reach out should reach out. जो उनकी CEO हैं मौजिमा, जो उनकी founders हैं हुमा वगैरह, they're very very available all the time. They are mostly Silicon Valley and Seattle based, and they're very very open to guiding women to come back to work after a career gap. So I think you should reach out to them definitely. But not a lot of work that I am doing in that area. I understand that somebody who comes to Code Girls and has had a career break. Code Girls always welcomes them, and we've had girls who have come to Code Girls. They've had a career break and then they've continued. So yeah.
Right. So Syed Fahad is looking
there
at
anything else?
returnship. Returnship was the word you were thinking of, Shamim. So there are no more questions, guys. If there are questions, you can yourself or you can write it in the chat.
There was a little gap because my internet. Work return re-entry. Sorry, work re-entry programs. Amazing. Zara Khan said that. Yeah, work re-entry programs. So PWIC is amazing at that. And at them, they conduct these workshops. They conduct these one-to-one sessions. They offer mentors bhi hote hain. They they help women to re-enter the workspace after a career gap. So does Women in Tech PK. If anybody wants to reach out, please let me know. I'll get them connected.
So I guess there are no more questions from the audience, and we'll wrap up the session then. So Shamim Rajani, thank you so much for your time and sharing great insights that you people are doing and creating the impact in our society and taking our women to the very next level, building a strong community. And today I was having a chat with somebody and she said that if we educate a woman, that means we are educating a generation. So this is kind of impact that your initiatives are creating in society. Thank you so much for that. I would also like to thank all the attendees for making to these sessions here on Saturdays and spending time with us. This is really an exciting journey with all of you. We really appreciate your time. Few chapter announcements are here. On the occasion of 15th anniversary, chapter is offering free membership to the chapter. You can connect with the chapter for having this free membership only if you are having a PMI membership itself. Chapter is having volunteer opportunity. It's a great time to be associated with our chapter and give back to our community to take it to the very next level. We have our volunteer opportunities for content writer and graphic designer. Third and the last one, we are announcing different professional development training programs specifically for the members and also for our non-members too. So don't forget to follow us on social media pages for more details. Last but not the least, I'll ask Shamim if you can just stop sharing the screen so that we can have a group photo. And before that, Almas has raised a hand. Almas. You can unmute yourself.
Okay. Okay. Rabia, I just had this idea. Why not we ask Shamim to give us some of her students for volunteer opportunities, if they would like to have some internship or some volunteer experience before they go into the actual field. So if Shamim can work with us on that, that would be great.
Absolutely, but you have to go through the program manager. आपको जो है website पे जाना पड़ेगा. We have a process in place. Go to the hire developer section, fill it out. The Code Girls program manager will reach out to you and she can take it from there. How does that sound?
Okay, great. And also, Shamim, as we already discussed, that we would like to collaborate with Code Girls in the field of project management. That if you guys need anything from us, any kind of tools that you want your students to learn for project management, or any kind of workshop for the introduction to the project management and anything, please do ask us, and we are willing to collaborate with you guys.
Absolutely, absolutely. We will definitely reach out to you. Should we have any queries? I'm sure we will. Eventually, hota hai ki project management professionals ke liye, you need girls who are actually graduates. They have done some stuff in the field. These are very, very fresh girls. So उनका ज़रा मुश्किल होता है जो है इस field में jump करना, because especially in the ICT sector, PMP जो होता है वो कम से कम 5 से 8 साल का experience लेकर चलता है अपने belt के नीचे. Now these are fresh girls, right? So उनके थोड़ा सा ये नया है, but definitely we'll keep that in mind. And should we see an opening, I will definitely reach out to you.
So there is a last question. Jang has again written it for you. If I can take that. What is your view on the impact of social media towards empowering women in the workforce or industry?
मुझे ना आवाज थोड़ी सी नहीं आई है आपकी. मुझे मेरा ना इंटरनेट एक्ट करे कुछ.
So I'll just repeat the question. What is your view on the impact of social media towards empowering women in the workforce or industry?
Oh man, that's it's huge. So I did not believe it. I did not believe it till I saw it. So when we so I'll give you a very good story here. So when we started Code Girls in 20, the idea of Code Girls came over a phone call. Pata nahi what is with me and letters and phone calls. My company has started 16 years ago with an email. Code Girls are started 3 years ago with a phone call. Just there, we want to start this. So why you tha ke when my sponsor said I want to sponsor 100 girls, aap kar lengi? Main kaha ji main kar lungi, because because I had experience training, I had space, I had the people, I had the infrastructure, so I wasn't worried. I did not even think about the marketing side, but I was like, okay, अब उनसे तो बात हो गई, उन्होंने कहा जी पैसे मैं आपको भेज दूंगा, वो फोन उन्होंने रख दिया. मैं सोच रही हूँ अच्छा अब लड़कियां कहाँ से आएंगी. And the next call I did is I made to Faiza Yusuf, Women in Tech की जो founder है. And I said, Faiza, I remember one of your 2019 agendas was to do something around women re-entry, work re-entry for women, some courses or some. So I was like, yeah. I was like, do you think you want to do it now? As in, she said, women now. I said, as in like today? She's like, yes. I said, okay, let's get started. So that's how we started. And Faiza is a guru in social media marketing. So she was the one who actually pushed the program so vigorously on social media and build the social media campaigns, while my work was behind the scene to make sure that the project was successful in the sense that when we onboarded girls, we were able to, deliver to their expectations. So in the first 1 year, we had sponsorships for 100 girls and we ended up training 250. And then obviously we got sponsorships to ski, but that's what happened. And the sponsor was like, Bacha, I sent you money for 100. I said, yeah, but what can I say? So definitely, I think social media is a huge impact of not just for women empowerment, but for everything. The right kind of social media strategy. So even for my own business, Genetic, when I say that, I work on business growth and business development, one of my things that I focus very strongly on is my social media marketing campaigns. How do I leverage on social media? What do I leverage on? Do I leverage on the company branding? Do I leverage on personal branding? For me, I leverage on personal branding and personal connections to get work for Genetic. So definitely, I hope that answers your question, but absolutely.
I guess, yes. So it's time for a group picture. Thank you so much, Shamim. Thank you so much, everyone here.